Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you're new here. Subscribe down below if you're interested in law school videos. I'm definitely going to be posting more law school videos. My new posting schedule is going to be law school videos on Sundays and on Wednesdays vlogs for my other subscribers who are not interested in law school. So like you already know, I'm going to GW and I'm repping the GW hat. I'm literally so excited to go to the school. So if anybody has any specific questions about law school or how to apply, please leave them down below and I definitely can make a video devoted to the question that you asked because I'm here to help you. This video today is going to be talking about what is the LSAT and my horrid LSAT experience. Yes, on the day of the test something happened which I believe definitely affected my score. A lot of people have had a similar experience also, or some people had to retake the test. I luckily didn't. This was all when they were transitioning from the paper test to the online test on the tablet. I took it on the tablet. I've never taken it on paper officially. Of course my practice tests were on paper and then I transitioned to the online format, but I'm going to go into detail about that later on the video. But in the beginning of this video I'm going to talk about what is the LSAT. So the LSAT is a law school admissions test. So basically if you're applying to law school you need to take this test. So if you ever heard of the ACT, the SAT, the GRE, or the MCAT, these are entrance exams that people take so that these schools can judge basically how well you would perform at their school. I really encourage you to look up information on that. LSAT.org will literally tell you everything about the LSAT, but I'm going to be giving you a general idea here in this video. So like I said, the LSAT is a law school admissions test and you have to take it to go to law school. You cannot take the LSAT exam 2 months before you need to go to law school and expect to get accepted to that law schools. A lot of lower ranked schools maybe will accept that. I know some schools in Florida, they'll take the LSAT until June. But if you're going to higher ranked schools, like for example for GW, there's deadlines. I believe GW's deadline was in February, so you need to apply before then if you want it to be considered for admissions for the next cycle. So the law school admissions test is composed of different sections, and I'm going to go into detail in each section. The first section that you hear a lot is logical reasoning. You'll have 2 of these sections on the exams that are scored that will count towards your score. The law school admissions test is made up of a scale from 120 to 180, 120 being the lowest you can get. I'm pretty sure people said if you write your name you'll get a 120, or the scale will tell you. If you go online and you look at a scale, depending on the curve, which I'll talk about a little bit later, 1 or 2 questions right is a 120, and the highest is 180 being the highest score that you can get. I don't think a lot of people get that. Some people do, but it's extremely difficult to get a 180, and if you do get a 180, expect a full ride to a school for sure. So we have the logical reasoning section. You have 2 of those. There's also the analytical reasoning section, which is considered games. It's basically kind of like a puzzle type thing where they give you a scenario and you have to like figure out where things go. They'll give you, it includes numbers but it's not math, and you have to see where things are placed. And like for example, say like if Tom is in 1 and Amber's in 3, who's in 2, and you have to figure it out. I know it sounds really confusing, but if you take a prep course or watch a video about the LSAT exam or take a practice test, you'll see what I'm saying. So that's an analytical reasoning section. And the other section is reading comprehension. So reading comprehension is probably the most basic section where people will be like, all right, I feel kind of comfortable in this section, because it kind of reminds people of the ACT and the SAT because you've read all your life. So I thought that that would be the easiest section for myself, but let me just tell you that I literally used to get, I'm pretty sure like 6 right out of 27 questions in that section, and that's not good. But I can say that these questions are a little bit more complex, and it literally requires you to have attention to detail and make sure that you're really understanding and analyzing the passage for its true meaning. So although it's a little bit more difficult, I definitely can say that the other sections will be harder, but honestly it will depend on each person. Some people are super good at reading comprehension when they start and they don't have to study for it that much, as opposed to the other sections. So on the day of the exam you'll have 5 sections and you'll have a break in between. You won't know which section you're going to get first. You can get reading comprehension first, you can get analytical reasoning first, or you can get logical reasoning first. When I took my exam, I got logical reasoning first for both of my official exams. So I was like, lol, that's funny. So you get 2 logical reasoning sections. They can be back to back, they can be in any order. There's no specific order, and each person has a different order on their test. 2 of the logical reasoning sections will be counted towards your score, so you need to pay attention to that. And then 1 section of reading comprehension will count towards your score, and 1 analytical reasoning games will count towards your score. The logical reasoning section will be composed of different questions that look at either an argument or a set of facts. You're going to hear that a lot when you start studying, argument or a set of facts. It's good to decipher between the 2, because that's how you go ahead and you answer the questions on the day of the exam. And you'll either look at what's the flaw, or what must be true based on the facts that they've given you, or what is probably true. Those are like the different types of questions you'll probably get with the question. Logical reasoning is composed of usually, I wrote it on here, like 23 to 24 questions, or maybe even 25. I'm pretty sure I've gotten 25, but don't quote me on that. I can't tell you exactly how many questions, because the logical reasoning section is not a set amount of questions. It depends on LSAT. So I'm pretty sure for my exam that I took in November, my first LR section was 26 questions. Yes, 26 questions, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And then my other LR section was 25 questions. But don't quote me on that, I don't remember. But definitely go ahead and search that up so that you can see around how many questions you'll probably have. So like I just told you, that's the LR section. The next section is games. So games is usually 23 questions. Sometimes it's 24, but that's super rare. I'm pretty sure mine was 23 questions, and you have basically 4 games, and you go ahead and you answer questions tailored to that scenario. So like I told you before, if Tom's in 1 and Peter's in 3, who must be second? And based on the scenarios, based on the information they gave you in the prompt, you can go ahead and use your analytical skills to try to decipher who's going to be in that spot. Honestly, games is the section that they say that people can improve most on. I definitely can say that games is either a hit or miss, definitely. So for me, on the day of the exam, my 4th game, I didn't even do it because it was too difficult for me. I didn't understand it at all. The exam is 35 minutes per section. So you have 35 minutes to do logical reasoning, 35 minutes to do reading comprehension, 35 minutes to do another LR, and 35 minutes to do analytical reasoning, which is games section on the day of the exam. And also on the day of the exam, you have a writing sample. Now the writing sample is online, so you don't have to take it the day of the test. You can do it in the comfort of your home. It is proctored, so you can't really have anything around you. You need to go to a quiet place or room with like nothing on the walls and nobody can walk in, and you show your ID and you take the writing sample for 35 minutes and you type it in your computer. I could say it was really user-friendly. It was easy, and it made me feel actually more comfortable because I was like not surrounded. I wasn't in a place that I've never been, so it didn't feel uncomfortable. You need to register for the exam in advance, so you need to make sure that when you register for the exam that you're ready to take it. A lot of people will register for the exam, and when it comes time, or like the week before, 2 weeks before, they're like, oh, I don't want to take this. So you definitely can withdraw. Schools won't see if you withdrew though, so I guess that's a plus, but then you waste $200 and you can't get it back. The 5th section will be a random section. So on the day of the exam, your score is composed of 4 scored sections, and 1 section is not scored. They're basically testing those questions to see if they can include those questions in a future LSAT examination. There's no way to know which section is going to be the one that doesn't count because they don't tell you. So you literally have to try for all the sections that are on the exam. So it could be very time consuming, and you need to mentally train yourself so that you can get through 5 sections, because it could definitely be mentally draining. But let me tell you, if you keep on practicing, you get accustomed to it. And if you, I know somebody, I'm pretty sure, who trained themselves by doing 6 sections, so when they had to do 5 on the actual exam, they didn't feel exhausted. A lot of people will go on Reddit and they'll post about it. You're not allowed to post specific questions, but you can generally talk about it to see which one is randomized. Also, on the day of the exam, there is a curve. So depending, apparently the curve is predicted before the exam is taken. People have had those questions before, and they saw how those people did. Also heard that they do adjust the score if the what is that called, distribution is not similar to what they had predicted, but they're generally right, so they don't usually adjust your score. But there's usually a curve. It might be -7, -8. I know the September exam, I believe, was -11, which is a huge curve, which will work in your favor. Basically, a curve is basically if you get minus a certain amount of questions, then that will be your score. The higher the curve, generally the higher your score will be, meaning the exam was harder. So they're trying to make sure that each exam is standardized. So my exam, I believe, was -7, but my friend's was -11. So hers was -11 because her test was harder than my test, and my test was apparently easier. So you definitely won't get the same question. No, you won't get the same. These are all different questions. These are randomized, and nobody knows the curve until basically the day of when your score comes out, and your score doesn't come out for like a month after. I know it's weird, even though everything's online, you would think that they would have your score right then and there, but they don't. And you just have to have patience, and I know I didn't because I was really scared. But that's how it is in terms of the curve. So like I said, the LSAT is composed of 5 sections. 4 of them count towards your score. The scale is 120 to 180. There is a curve, generally probably -7 to 8. And you need to focus and make sure that you know what you're doing before the exam so that you don't go in blindly. Do not go into the exam blindly. The worst thing is for you to get a 136 and for you to have to write an addendum to law school saying, I got a 136 because I didn't prepare and I just wanted to see what I got. Well, then why didn't you go and take a practice exam in your room? Why did you have to go through the testing thing? So a lot of schools don't advise that, but I mean, some people do it, and you're gonna have to write an addendum if you want law school representatives not to question your application, because I've heard from reps that they want to know every single thing. They don't want to guess about your application. So if you think they're going to be like, maybe they'll want to know more to it, tell them everything. That's what I did with my application. I literally told them everything down to the T about everything that I've experienced and everything that I went through in my addendum, because I had to write one, and it worked out in my favor. So if you have doubt about something, include it in your application so that they're not guessing. They know exactly what you're talking about and what you're referring to. Back to the reading comprehension, I forgot to say that one is 27 questions, literally like all the time, and you have 35 minutes. That one can be hard because you have to read a bunch of lines of text and then answer some complex questions like what is most supported, what must be true. So these must be true, most supported ties back to LR. So if you have your LR down pat, then you probably can have your reading comp down pat. I know one of my friends, I think he got like -1 on LR and he finished the whole thing. And that's literally amazing. Me? Never. I think the most I've gotten to is question 23 and I have to guess. If you go through Power Score, Dave Killeran, I don't know if I pronounced his last name wrong, he will literally tell you how to guess on the LSAT to improve your chances of answering the question correctly if you run out of time. This is not a tactic to just use on the day of the exam because you did not prepare. This is a tactic to use if you run out of time, although generally please don't run out of time, but it's definitely a possibility. I know for me, for all my sections, I ran out of time, I think, except for one section, and I had to guess on a couple of questions, and I used this little trick, and I think it did help me in terms of my score. But basically that's the gist of the LSAT exam. And on the day of the exam, you need to bring a clear bag with, you can bring an eraser, you can bring a pencil, and you can bring a snack. You're not allowed to eat in the testing room, and you're not allowed to drink in the testing room, and everything has to fit in a Ziploc bag. And they check your ID. You need to come earlier than your scheduled time. And once you get there, they'll tell you exactly what you need to do. On my testing days, they split us up into 2 lines, and we had our LSAT paper that you had to bring, and my little pouch. You cannot have your phone. Some people have their phone and put it in your pocket, but if they find it, they'll definitely like take you out and you're not allowed to take the exam. So don't risk it. If you have a car, leave it in your car. If you don't, for me, I know I didn't have a car during that time, so my boyfriend literally just waited for me and came back, and I just stood outside for like 20 minutes after, because you like gauge the time and it might not be exactly. So because the exam is 5 sections of 35 minutes, it takes 3 hours and 15 minutes for the exam. But you need to factor in that you get a break and you have no idea what time your testing center is going to begin the test. Just because it might say that your exam started at 9 a.m. does not mean it's going to start exactly at 9 a.m. Some testing centers do, so please go early, but some don't. In my first one, they didn't start on time, and my second one, they started like literally right on time. So it literally depends on the proctors and the people, the managers there. But don't be nervous. I know it can be really intimidating. I can say my first time was in a ballroom, and it was definitely more intimidating than my second time, which was in a law school classroom. The law school classroom literally felt like home, and I felt way more comfortable. And I'm pretty sure that also attributed to my huge increase in my score, literally above 10 points. I know, how can you go up 10 points in literally a month? But based on my scenario of what happened in my life, it definitely makes sense. But I'm literally going on a tangent here, but on the day of the exam, don't be nervous. So you'll go and they'll assign you a tablet, and then you'll go and you'll sit down where you're assigned. I know for me, in my first and second one, they have like an assigned seat. LSAC, they scan you your tablet and then it automatically assigns you to a seat. And like, for example, I'm pretty sure mine was like B9, so I went and I sat where they said like they have a sign and it says B9, you sit there, or a proctor goes and walks you to your seat, but you go there and you sit down and then you wait for them to start, and they start. So now that we're getting on the day of the test, let me tell you, on my day of my test, I literally almost like cried, because you get your tablet and LSAC has a little video for you about like how to use a tablet, so you listen to it and you like press how you studied. So I was pressing those things and it didn't work, and I was like, maybe it'll like fix itself. And then I was trying to like click next and it wouldn't go next, so I raised my hand and I told the proctor, and then when she was there, it started to the tablet started to work, and I was like, wait, what is going on? Literally, I was like, how's this thing gonna start working when she comes? Like, this is annoying. And in my head, I'm like, okay, this better not do it when I have to like fill out another like form thing that they have on the tablet. And as soon as she left and I had to like press something again, it didn't work. My tablet was not working. So everybody was done watching the video, and I was literally the only one who hadn't finished watching the video because the thing was glitching. It wouldn't work. It was like glitching the tablet. So it was a technical issue. So I raised my hand again and I was like, excuse me, like my tablet is not working. Can I please get a new one? And she's like, all right, fine. So I had to get up, go get a new tablet, while like literally the whole room was waiting on me, yay, on the day of the test, and the test hasn't even started. So I have like anxiety, so my nerves were literally like shot. I was literally so scared for my life. And these are people's worst fears. It's for you to go on test day and for your tablet not to work, or for it to not save your data, or when you're pressing submit when the time is up and it doesn't submit. Literally, if it affects your score, and LSAC can be understanding, but the worst thing is that you'll have to retake it. So I was scared because I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna start without me, because the whole room has to start at the same time, and it shuts off when the time is up for the whole room, even if you're not done, because there's a time limit. So I was scared that my tablet wasn't going to be working during the tablet, because she didn't want to switch out my tablet. But then when the second time when I asked her to, I had to get up, like I said, switched out my tablet, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this tablet doesn't glitch too, because that's so annoying. So then after I went, I watched the video while literally everybody was like waiting, and then we started the exam. But all I can think of at the back of my head was, oh my gosh, my tablet, is it gonna glitch again? Is it gonna work? So that literally stressed me out. And I cannot emphasize, don't be like me, don't be anxious, because that didn't work in my favor. My score was literally trash, and I'm attributing it to anxiety, just like my space. It just, I don't know, I felt uncomfortable. And on the day of the exam, like I told you guys in my last video about how to apply to law school, if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out, that this girl was kicking the table. Just imagine somebody kicking something, and how like ADD that it feels for me. And like, I literally was like, oh my gosh, can you please stop kicking the table? Like, I'm trying to focus, I have a timer, and then I'm also worrying in the back of my head, is my tablet gonna glitch? So with all of that, in terms of the exam, when I went to take my exam the second time, I did think about it, but at the same time I prayed and I was like, all right, just breathe. I literally started doing like meditation so I can calm my nerves, because I get super anxious and my heart rate skyrockets when I have like serious like standardized testing. Like, what do they call it? Like standardized testing anxiety. Like, that's definitely a real thing. So I like taught myself to breathe and like learn how to calm myself down in terms of going to take tests in unfamiliar settings, so that I don't, like, my anxiety doesn't get out of hand during the exam. So during my second time, it didn't happen. There was no glitch, and I felt better about myself. I was able to breathe, like I see back here for this, because like I need to remind myself that I need to breathe. You definitely need to breathe. Applying to law school can be difficult and challenging and super expensive, but it is worth it. If your desire is to study law, you can do it. Do not let anybody tell you you can't. Your LSAT score does not define you. Once again, your LSAT score does not define you. I'm the prime example. I literally scored in the mid 150s, had a 3.78 GPA, got into GW. I'm literally like not their picture perfect candidate, if that makes any sense, but I felt like I was well-rounded, and I included all the information possible to attest to my experience and what I went through while studying for the LSAT. Like, going through some things can be more challenging for one person rather than someone who had no issues while studying. So they definitely do take that to account. So you definitely need to explain everything. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and thank you so much for my new subscribers. I really appreciate you guys, and I'm here to help you. And you're gonna see when I go to law school in August how law school is. I'm gonna tell you literally straight up or raw. You're gonna see my raw emotions, and I'm probably gonna cry, and that's okay, but I'm gonna tell you guys how to get through law school and my experiences in law school. And for anybody who wants to go to law school, you can definitely do it. Don't let people tell you you can't, and you need to keep going. Even when it seems like things are impossible, keep going, because I thought it was impossible, but here I am going to GW, and I'm super elated and grateful, and I hope everybody's doing well. So subscribe if you're new, if you like law school content, and if you want to see some vlogs from my channel. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye.